All right, what's up, Tycoon? Super excited for today's video. We're going to give an intraday update on VIX. This is the volatility index, also known as the fear index. Okay. And what this is going to do is this is going to elevate your game. This is going to give you an edge in the market when trading, and especially when you start to focus on day trading and swing trading, the SPY, the SPY or SPX, okay, or the NASDAQ. All right, QQQ, NDX. If you're trading these and you're watching the VIX, it's really going to give you a much better game plan. And as I said earlier, an edge. Okay. In today's video, we are using the Bollinger Bands. Okay. This is one of the study sets that I'm mostly using when I'm looking at the VIX, especially on the 1 hour chart. I'm wanting to see, where the top Bollinger Band is, where the bottom Bollinger Band is, where the middle one is. These are good areas that tend to start to be, swing trade opportunities, okay, or, possible bottoms or possible tops. All right. We also have a lot of boxes on the chart. Okay. I know it kind of looks a little messy, but these are really important. These are gaps on the 1 hour chart. Okay. So we'll go over here and we'll look at last Tuesday to Wednesday. All right. We can see that what happened was from this candlestick to here, there was a gap. Okay. Meaning, there's nothing in between, no data in between these candlesticks, right? These fill about 90 to 95% of the time historically in the market, right? So when you're seeing these, it's really important to chart these up, especially on the VIX, right? Today we got news that Nancy Pelosi, okay, was going off to Taiwan. All right. Now, what does this do? This causes a little bit of uncertainty in the market. All right. And which is just another word for volatility. Okay. The market doesn't like uncertainty. All right. And, so you start to see volatility rise pre-market as the pre-market news comes out, right? And you have to think, who are the people own the media that's putting out the news that you're watching, right? It's these large corporations. It's these billion-dollar corporations, right? They're the ones controlling all of the money and putting the news out, and they're the ones controlling the prices, right? So as VIX is rising, there's also stories coming out, okay? News stories coming out, things like that. All right. But if we look, VIX aggressively started climbing, right? And what this did was this created gaps down to fill. Okay. So we went over the last Tuesday and Wednesday gap. Okay. And if we look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days later is when we actually came in and filled the gap today. Okay. Then we had this gap right here. All right. So this was another one. So we were looking and, on Friday, we said, hey, two gaps up on the VIX to be cautious of, right? But the market itself has not had a very strong pullback, right? What it's done is it's pulled back and then still gone bullish. Okay. So we're seeing the VIX rise a little bit, but the market also, stay pretty steady. And today, after we filled the gap, look at how that's also our reversal spot, right? Now, one thing I really like is that it's following the valid support and resistance levels, right? And if you watch my VIX videos, the key time to go bullish in the market, right? When you want to go bullish on some trades is going to be a rejection on VIX. Okay. So we have a nice resistance line here at 24.49 that we want to see a rejection at, but we know we have this gap up to fill that most likely it's going to push above here. But we have our top Bollinger Band up here, which is also an area of resistance. So we have three things right here. And we're going to say, all right, well, somewhere in between here might be a good time to start going long in SPY, right? In the SPY in the S&P, and you do that on some, some option contracts, right? Or some futures, however you want to do it, whatever your strategy is, right? And you can ride and see that volatility is dropping. And most of the time, okay, as the VIX is dropping, the market is going up. All right. So what did we have? And, intraday, we're posting this stuff. So if you're not good enough to start doing this on your own, right? In the Options Trading Tycoons Discord, you have me and the other admin members, right? Here's Tycoon Leon. All right. And he's speaking of VIX as well, right here. VIX trying to fill the gap. Okay. And he's seeing that, oh, it's got the 200 SMA, that it's approaching the 200 SMA. Then I go over, the two gaps, right? We have this gap up to fill, and then two big gaps down on the 1 hour now, too. Right. And so we just, we joke around a little bit in here. Okay. We trade, and, he's saying VIX is battling. This is the VIX futures. Okay. /VX battling with the 200 SMA on the 1 hour and bouncing off of the downward channel resistance. Right. So what he's meaning by that is that we're looking and seeing that VIX, according to his analysis, right, is getting rejected here at your 200 SMA, which is a common rejection area. Okay, and that it's probably going to climb down. All right, so this is just some of our intraday updates that you'll be able to get. All right, and just covering a lot of things. Right, this is the main chat, the Circle of Opulence. It's going over some monkeypox stocks. Okay, Virax, VRAX, things like that. All right. So we'll get back into the chart. And, that's why I'm kind of giving an intraday update because it's looking like we're going to drop all the way down and fill this gap down to about 21.5. Okay. Now that we've flipped 23.28 from support to resistance, right? So that's the key thing. Remember the signals in the market. We're flipping 24.49 to resistance. It's staying as valid resistance, right? We're pushing lower. All right. We dipped below 23.28, flipped it to resistance here, and we're pushing lower outside of the gap and continuing to head down. Okay. Lots of time when the market is pushing like this, especially the SPY, the stock market, right? S&P 500, that tends to continue and be the pattern for the rest of the day. All right. Now, 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. is when you either tend to see a reversal, right? So you always have to be a little bit cautious there because that's when the volume steps in a lot. Is the first hour and the last hour is when institutions do most of their buying, and they control most of the money, right? So in the meantime, right, the trend tends to continue, all right, until we get a nice impulse from the institutions around 3 o'clock. So we may fill this gap today, all right, or it may take till tomorrow. Okay. The thing is that I really like is that there's been a lot of earnings and the market has just been reacting so well to earnings. Doesn't matter if it's a hit or a miss, right? A lot of these companies are missing earnings, but the market is just saying, you know what, it's not as bad as we thought it was. So let's go ahead and pump the price up. All right. So you don't want to fight the trend when we're in such a strong market. It's going to blow up your account basically to keep trying to fight the trend. We did again, see the VIX rise a little bit, but it did it too fast. It went way too fast. Look at how we had the gap from the previous day, okay, and we just gapped right up through that gap again, and then we ended up we're heading towards down to fill this one now, about one day later. Okay, so a lot of times these VIX 1 hour gaps they tend to fill within a week, but sometimes when there's a really unexpected move, right? Like if VIX would have kept rising and rose all the way up to 30, this would have been the first gap down to 21.5. So if it doesn't fill within a week, it's usually going to take much longer for that gap to fill. Okay. I'm talking like, 3 to 6 weeks. Okay. So appreciate you guys watching the video. Things are looking pretty good for the stock market overall too. Okay. Still lots of earnings coming up. We have AMD, we got SoFi. There's a bunch. Fubo is going to be really interesting to see what that one does. Pinterest just smashed it. So don't forget to smash the like button. Okay.